Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Here we are for another news clip, and we're talking about Wimbledon. That is correct, and the seedings have been released for this year's championships. So let's delve in and have a little look. So for the men's side, you can see here the top 16 seeds are set. We've got Djokovic at number 1, Nadal at number 2, Casper Ruud number 3, and Stefanos Tsitsipas as number 4. And we've got number 5, 6, 7, and 8 being Alcaraz, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Hubert Hurkacz, and Matteo Berrettini. Moving down, we've got Norrie in 9, Sinner in 10, Fritz 11, Schwartzman in 12. And then we've got another interesting pack here. 13, Shapovalov, Cilic number 14, Opelka 15, and Carreño Busta sneaking in at 16. As you see here from Stephen from the Slice Tennis, he's put out a good tweet here saying seeds 5 to 8 on the men's side are serious danger matches for any of the top 4 seeds. That will be really interesting as potential quarter-final matchups. And the ones that we were just talking about, let's go back to them. Alcaraz, obviously, massive threat. We don't know, a bit of an unknown entity on the grass, but I'm sure he can apply his trade to the grass the same way he has done hard court and clay. Felix, as we know, you see last year here, he got all the way to the quarterfinals, knocked out Zverev there in 5 sets, which was a bit of an epic, and went out to the eventual finalist, Matteo Berrettini, in 4 sets. So a really good tournament for him last year. Hubert Hurkacz, he's been playing very well recently. He has just won a tournament in Halle, defeating Daniel Medvedev in the final there, defeating Kyrgios, who's on a bit of a resurgence at the moment as well. And Matteo Berrettini, say no more. He has obviously just won Queens, and he won Stuttgart just before that. So he is having an absolutely amazing start to his grass court season and coming back onto the tour proper. Last year's finalist at Wimbledon, he is one that everyone is going to want to avoid. Just like John Silk is saying here, the biggest questions are the Wimbledon draw. Which half will Berrettini fall on? Rafa's or Novak's? Where will the joker in the pack, Nick Kyrgios, lie in wait? Another interesting person, and like Jose Morgado says, Nick Kyrgios will return to the top 50 for the first time in 15 months after 2 great weeks, really, reaching 2 semi-finals on grass. He got through in Stuttgart, went out to eventual finalist Andy Murray, who lost to obviously Berrettini in the final, and Hubert Hurkacz, the eventual winner, very close from Kyrgios. So he's always good on the grass. That serve is always firing, as we know. And Jose is saying, similar to John Silk, an unseeded Kyrgios at Wimbledon, bad news for him and pretty much everybody. Yeah, I think it is bad news for everyone else. No one wants Nick Kyrgios in those early rounds, and especially I don't think anybody wants Berrettini in their side either. But that is going to be the real person to be trying to avoid in that draw. Nick Kyrgios, he will have a star next to his name, that's for sure. And we've got Berrettini speaking out, saying beating Djokovic in a Grand Slam is probably one of the hardest things you can do. But what is clear is that by losing against him, I improved a lot, and I think that the time has come to beat him. So Berrettini believes that if he was to meet Novak Djokovic again, he will be able to beat him this time. Some other positive news coming from a young Belgian. And no, it's not David Goffin. It is Zizou Bergs, who just won his first grass court title, and he has now been granted a wild card into Wimbledon. This was a challenger in Ilkley. He played fantastically well, beating Jack Sock, it was, in the final. What a close final as well. 8-6 in the final set tiebreak. But he beat a couple of good players there along the road. You've got Poprin and Seppi, a bit of a veteran on the grass. So had a really good tournament, well deserved, well done. Zizou Bergs makes it in to the main draw proper. Let's have a quick look over at the women's, and obviously the top 10 seedings, no prizes for guessing who's number 1. Iga Swiatek, she leads the way. We've got Annette Kontaveit, she is number 2. Ons Jabeur there in number 3. She's actually number 2 in the live rankings, but based upon the dates. She will be the 3rd seed. Paula Badoza there in number 4. Maria Sakkari at 5. Karolina Pliskova at 6. Danielle Collins at 7. Jessica Pegula at 8. Garbinia Muguruza, who's sort of struggling on her return to tennis at the moment. She'll be at 9. And Emma Raducanu there, propping up the top 10 at number 10. Quite a dramatic change from last year when she entered the tournament as a wild card. And she was a bit of a lucky wild card, really, because I think she only got in based upon one of the other wild cards dropping out, which was, I think it was Eden Silva, if I remember rightly. But it's a different ball game this year. Top 10 seed. We'll see how Emma gets on in this year's championships. I'm sure she will have the whole backing of the UK cheering her on and hoping that she can surpass last year's, which was an incredible 4th round. But she's got a target on her back, has Emma Raducanu. Here's a quick look at all of the official seedings from the men's and women's side, just so you can see going down. And I'll keep on moving down. And if you want the chance to have a look in depth, you can pause this video and have a quick look. But you can see there a few players of note. We've got Simona Halep in there at number 16. Angelique Kerber in there at 15. Ostapenko there at number 12. Coco Gauff at number 11. So I'm moving all the way down, and Kai Kanepi, someone everybody wants to try and avoid. She's down there in 31. Haddad Meyer, another one that somebody should really be talking about. She's been a champion on grass so far this year, so she's looking good, the Brazilian. Maybe one to watch out for in the women's side. And obviously on the men's side, we've got Baez. He's been plying his trade very well on the clay. Let's see how he gets on the grass. Holger Rune, he is, well, great in all surfaces. He has said that he's looking forward to Wimbledon and an opportunity to shock the world once again. And we've got obviously these other great players up here. We've got Batista Agut. We've got Big John Isner, always a big favourite there at Wimbledon with that big serve. And we've got some other ones. Van der Zandschulp, he's a regular staple on the men's tour now. And Dan Evans, just one of our own there in 29th seeding. Hopefully he gets a good draw and we can see something good from Dan Evans. Something quite interesting that's coming out in the media reporting that Wimbledon will break tradition and allow some limited practice on centre and number 1 courts this year ahead of the tournament. The goal is to improve the footing in the early rounds, as Serena Williams and Adrian Manarino both slipped on centre court last year and they were both injured. And I agree, it does make sense. It was a bit worrying because remember, we even saw Roger, he went over as well. Novak, he slipped over in his first match. So was Jack Draper as well. People were just slipping aside. It's like an ice rink on centre court, it seemed, last year. I'm glad they've made this adjustment. So there it is, a quick roundup of the seedings of the men's and women's side, just to show you what the playing field is. And on the men's side, I'm sure you'll agree, it looks pretty tasty. Let me know in the comments section what you think about the seedings and what do you think is going to happen. Do we think we're going to see Kyrgios Djokovic or something crazy like this in the early rounds, or maybe even Kyrgios Nadal? I mean, that would be another one. We know those two like a bit of back and forth. If you haven't already, whack a like on the video, subscribe to Game to Love if you're new, and I'll see you very soon for another.